coffee in the house. Hoping it will be good. We've been out. It's -4, so we've been romping. So hopefully it's tired out. Begin in constructive rest pose. Lying on your back with your knees bent, feet in line with the sit bones. Arms comfortably wide, palms turned up. Settling down into the middle of the sacrum, spreading the shoulder blades so they're flat and broad and the shoulders are relaxed. And turn your head slowly from one side to the other. And then settle your head back into the middle. Take a moment to allow yourself to drop completely into the pull of gravity, doing as little as possible, letting all the muscles soften, the bones settle. Body taking this constructive rest pose. The spine is here in its neutral, natural lumbar curve. We're going to start with the idea of the Abdominal Star, which is an asterisk. We're going to begin by picturing it just resting on the front of the belly, with the vertical line moving from the sternum to the pubic bone, the horizontal line going across the hip points, and the two diagonal lines reaching from one set of ribs down to the other hip point. We'll take a moment to organize all of those lines in your mind's eye. Picture that big asterisk resting on the front of the belly. We're going to practice shrinking that star in towards its center to engage the various parts of the abdominal wall. Begin by inhaling and picturing that asterisk. And then as you exhale, shrink the asterisk down towards its center, which you'll notice is lower than your navel. If you have your horizontal crossbar at the hip points, it's an off-center center. And then relax the effort, just picturing the asterisk again, letting it rest in the front of the belly. And with the exhale, again, gather it down towards its low center. Take a moment to connect with all of those lines, all 4 lines. You've got 8 points pulling into that low center. And then relax. And take a breath where you do nothing. Again, letting yourself sink into gravity's pull. And let's do the Abdominal Star like that one more time. Inhale and picture the star. And as you exhale, shrink it down towards its low center. Make sure the shoulders stay relaxed as you do that. And then relax the effort of the Abdominal Star. And exhale with no effort, giving into gravity. Now, of course, your actual abdominal wall is not just two-dimensional like that. 3 of the parts of the star actually start around the back and wrap you, which is why the abdominals can support the lower back. Except for the vertical line, which is the rectus abdominis, the other 3 lines actually start behind you at your back, so they can wrap and then gather. So I want you to picture those, that asterisk extending behind the back, all of the 6 points that go behind the back of those 3 lines. And then as you exhale and shrink the star, you're actually going to feel it gathering from behind you. The back ribs are going to pull around and go down to the opposite hip points. The horizontal line is going to pull around from the spine, meeting below the navel like a belt, a hip hugger belt. And the lines, instead of just ending at the hip points, now will extend to the back pockets. Let's picture that 3-dimensional star again. Picture the Abdominal Star wrapping around the body. And as you exhale, shrink it coming around from the back. So the back ribs are pulling down towards the opposite back pockets. The opposite back pockets are coming up and over to the opposite rib. And the belt is wrapping around low at the hip points. And then relax that. No movement here of the pelvis, keeping the spine in its neutral position. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, prepare. Picture the abdominal star, which is wrapping around all the way from the back towards the front. And then exhale, shrink all of those 3 lines down towards the center. And then relax. We'll add some arm lifts. Use the abdominal star with that 3-dimensional aspect as we stabilize the lower back. Inhale, float the arms up to vertical. Exhale, shrink the 3-dimensional star. Reach your arms back towards the floor behind you. Maintain your neutral lower back curve. Your pelvis shouldn't be moving. And inhale, float your arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, relax them down to your sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, float the arms up to vertical. Exhale, shrink the star. Make it 3-dimensional, wrapping from behind the back. Pelvis is neutral. Your back ribs are going to stay down onto the mat, imprinted onto the mat. Inhale, arms will float up. And exhale, the arms lower down to the sides. And let's do one more like that. Inhale, float the arms up. And exhale, shrink the star, 3-dimensional star reaching back, maintaining your neutral pelvis, neutral spine, keeping the back ribs down in contact with the mat. And inhale, float the arms to vertical, where we're going to pause and drop the humeral heads into the sockets. And let's bring the hands behind the head and open the elbows out wide. So when we're using the 3-dimensional star, we've already got the obliques involved. So you can also think of your knitting and imprinting, or you can think of the star reaching around from the back, whichever way you prefer. Take an inhale. We're going to go into a neutral head lift. Exhale, shrink that 3-dimensional star and lift the head. Neutral spine, neutral pelvis, and lower back down. And let it relax. And again, exhale, shrink the star and lift. The back ribs are staying down, the front ribs are knitted. And lower down and relax. One more time. Exhale and shrink the star and lift. And inhale, lower down and relax. Let's do a couple exercises with the head lifted. You're going to keep that sense of the whole 3-dimensional star staying shrunk. You might also think of your back ribs imprinting. Exhale, engage, shrinking that star, lift the head. We're going to go into the crazy fish. Stay in the center while you inhale, and then side bend as you exhale. Bring your left elbow towards your left waist. Keep your breastbone facing the ceiling. Inhale, come back into the center. And exhale, keep shrinking that 3-dimensional star as you side bend, bringing the right elbow towards the right waist. And inhale, return to the center. Let's go again to the left. Exhale, keep thinking of the star wrapping all the way around, pulling you together towards that low center. And exhale, side bend to the right. Keep the sternum facing the ceiling. Inhale to the center one more time. Exhale, we'll side bend left. And inhale center. And exhale, side bend right. And inhale to the center. And then let's bring the head down. Relax for a moment. We're going to keep the hands behind the head and gently press the backs of the arms in towards the mat. And then relax all of the effort. Now we use the head lift as we go into the alternate leg lifts. Engage, shrinking that star around, and go into your head lift with your neutral spine. Keep your pelvis anchored and lift the right foot up. And then lower it down. Lift your heads up. You can take a look at the pelvis and make sure that it doesn't move. Inhale, lift the left foot up and lower it back down. Again to the right side. Shrink the star from around the back and lower down. Shrink the star to stabilize. Lift the left and lower down. One more repetition on each leg. Keep the pelvis steady. Keep thinking of that star gathering around from behind, gathering down towards that point beneath the navel. When you're done with this third one on the left side, release and relax down for a moment. Gently press the back of your head down into the hands and then relax that. We're going to use a head lift and go into the next variation of the alternate leg lift where we extend the leg. Shrink the star from around the back, lift the head, keeping your neutral spine. We'll lift the right foot up, flex the foot and extend the leg out, reaching out through the heel. Inhale, bend the knee, stay anchored, keep the star reaching around from the back as you lower the foot. And inhale, lift the left. Exhale, flex, extend. Inhale, bend the knee, and keep that star wrapping around, pulling you together. Right foot up, exhale, flex, extend. And inhale, bend the knee. Anchor and lower back down, and go to the left side. Exhale, flex, extend, and bend the knee and anchor, lower back down. One more with each leg like that. And then let's lower the head down. We're going to float the arms straight up towards the ceiling and relax the shoulders. Do some small circles with your arms. And then reverse the circles. And then we'll bring my arms down to the sides and we'll just play with the rectus abdominis, which is the vertical line, adding that final part of the abdominal star, putting some action there. So start by shrinking the three-dimensional star, and then without pressing on your feet, draw your pubic bone towards your navel, and this is going to tilt your pelvis so your lower back comes flat down to the floor. And then keep that action of the pubic bone drawing towards the navel, and slide your right heel away, keeping the back flat. Maintain for a moment there. Keep pulling pubic bone towards navel. See if you can reconnect with the idea of the star wrapping around from behind and containing you. And then keep tilting the pelvis as you slide the right heel back in. Continue to tilt the pelvis, and then let's slide the left heel away. And pause for a moment there, wrapping that three-dimensional star around and drawing the pubic bone towards the navel. And then keep the pelvis tilted, slide the left leg back in, and then relax the effort, return to neutral. Okay, again, shrink the star from around the back, tilt the pelvis, and then slide the right heel away. I'm going to float the arms up towards the ceiling. Keep shrinking the star from around the back and pulling the pubic bone towards the navel. Then reach your arms back behind you and keep all those parts of the star and the pelvic tilt all working together so that your lower back stays flat, your back ribs stay down, and the front of the thigh is lengthened. And keep tilting the pelvis. Let's take the arms up to vertical and then slide the right heel in. Keep tilting the pelvis, shrinking the star from around the back. Slide the left leg away and continue the pelvic tilting as you reach the arms back. Feel the length at the front of the left thigh, the lower back pressing down to the mat, the back ribs coming down to the mat. Think of that whole star wrapping around you, shrinking towards the low center as you tilt the pelvis. And then we're going to slide the left heel back in. We're going to leave the arms there and relax a moment. So as you relax here, you're going to feel that your ribs are quite far from the mat. So let's shrink that star down and get the ribs back down and find your neutral spine. And then we're going to keep the arms there, tilt the pelvis to flatten the back, slide the right leg away, and then this time add the left. So both legs are straight out, you're tilting the pelvis, shrinking the star from behind the back. And stay here and stretch for a moment. And then let's keep tilting the pelvis and slide the right leg in, and then the left. And keep your arms where they are, and let's release the abdominal effort. And again, if you do nothing, you're going to feel that your lumbar curve is quite increased. The back ribs are pulling away from the mat, so rest there for a moment. And then re-shrink that star from around the back to find the neutral spine. This is going to pull your back ribs down to the mat, and then we'll tilt the pelvis and slide the left heel away, and then the right, and we're going to stay here for a moment, keep tilting the pelvis, imprinting the back ribs, and then let that effort go, Feel the nice long stretch through the whole armpits, the sides, and then flex your feet back and point the toes out. And again, flex the feet back and point the toes out. Again, flex the feet back and point the toes out. And then relax the feet. We're going to re-engage, shrinking the star down, tilting the pelvis, and then sliding the left heel in, keeping the back flat, the pelvis tilting, slide the right leg in, keep the back flat, the pelvis tilting, float the arms up, keep the pelvis tilting and lower the arms down, and then relax into neutral. And keep the arms, the shoulders very relaxed. Shrink the star again. We're returning to our neutral pelvis and flip the right foot up and then the left foot up. And then the right foot goes back down. Keep shrinking the star from around the back and the left foot goes back down and then lift the left. Gather the star from around the back, lift the right and lower the left and lower the right. We're going to prepare for the piston now, raising the right foot up and the left. Take a moment to re-engage with that sense of the star coming around from the back, and then we'll lower one foot down with exhale, tap the toe and lift back up on inhale, exhale to lower, and inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, and inhale, lift. Lower with the exhale, and lift with the inhale. Again, exhale down, and inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up, do one more set. And then let's take the right foot down and leave it down. And the left foot down and leave it down. And then relax completely. Here you are back in your neutral spine. Relax the shoulders. We're going to do some pelvic lifts. So if you have something behind your head, please take it out. We're going to work with this neutral spine. So we're gathering the star around from behind, shrinking it towards the low center. Not tilting the pelvis, press into the feet and raise the hips up, just hinging in from the hip crease. Keep that sense of being wrapped around from your back, pulling everything together around to the front, and then drop into the hip crease to lower your hips back down to the floor. Neutral spine the whole time. Contain all the way around the torso and lift, maintaining the neutral, and hinge back down. Keep your neutral in place. Keep that star shrinking and gathered from behind. One more time. Gather the star from behind, press up, and hinge at the hip to lower back down. And then relax into neutral. Now we're going to do the 100, maintaining the neutral spine. Let's bring the arms down to the sides. Shrink the star from the back. We'll lift the left foot up. Keep shrinking the star from around the back and lift the right foot up. Palms down. Make sure that you're really gathering around in those back ribs. Press your palms down to activate the backs of the arms. Lift your head up. Maintain your neutral spine and extend the legs out. And then exhale for 5 pulses of the arms. And inhale for 5 pulses. Exhale for 5. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Keep shrinking the star from around the back. Exhale. And inhale. So you really feel it gathering around all the way from around the spine towards the belly. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Keep shrinking the star. Exhale. And inhale. One more time. Exhale. And inhale. Now bend the knees. Maintain your neutral spine. Lower your head down. And place one hand on each knee. Drop the knees out wide. Relax the inner thighs. Soften the front thighs. And then begin to stir your legs around. Nice and loose in the inner thighs and the front thighs. And then reverse. And then let's give the knees a hug into the chest, lengthening the lower back, lengthening the back of the neck. And then roll a little bit to the side and back and forth slightly. We're going to re-establish the neutral spine in your neutral tabletop position. Shrink the star around and lower one foot down, and then the other, and return to your neutral. Relax and do nothing for a moment. And then let's shrink the star. Remember to bring it around from the back ribs, the back pockets, the spine. Tilt your pelvis. And then with the back flattened, we're going to slide the left heel away so the left leg is straight out onto the floor. Keep the back flattened and bring your right knee to your chest. Pull the knee towards the breastbone. And then release the pelvic tilt. Find your neutral spine. Shrink the star from around the back again. And extend the right leg up to the ceiling. Hold the leg behind the back of the thigh and then bend the knee. Keep your neutral spine in both these positions. Stretch up. Keep the neutral spine. And bend the knee and keep neutral. And again, stretch up. And bend the knee. And then maintain the neutral spine, stretch up, keep the leg up there. Gather that star from around the back, and then let's circle the leg 5 times. And re-engage and circle 5 times the other way. And then re-engage. Stay shrinking around from the back. I'm going to keep the neutral spine and lift the head up. Lower the leg down till it's about 6 inches above the floor. Bring your hands behind your head and externally rotate the right leg, and then pulse it there 10 times. Keep the pelvis still. Then let's lower the head down, extend the leg back up to the ceiling, and then bend the right knee towards the breastbone. You can relax the abdominal work for a moment. Pull your right knee towards your right armpit. Make sure your left hip stays down as you do the stretch of the right inner thigh. And then let's switch the knee over to the left hand, and we're going to go to a spinal twist. Pulling the knee with your left hand over towards the floor on the left. Relaxing the right arm. Stretching the right side, breathe into the stretch. And then roll onto your back. Hug the right knee towards the breastbone. Notice that the back is flat. I'm going to shrink the abdominal star and consciously tilt the pelvis, and then lower the right foot down to the floor, keeping the pelvis tilted. Slide the left leg in, keep the pelvis tilted, and then relax into neutral. And take a moment, do nothing, releasing into the pull of gravity. And then again, we'll shrink the star, tilt the pelvis, slide the right leg out, keeping the pelvis tilted, bring your left knee towards your breastbone. Take a moment and stretch there with the abdominals engaged. And then release to a neutral spine. You're going to just move the left knee out away from the chest a little bit. Feel your little lumbar curve. Re-engage, shrinking that abdominal star from behind. Take your hands behind the left leg and keep your tailbone down. Keep your neutral pelvis in place as you extend the left leg up to the ceiling, stretch the hamstring, and then bend the knee. Keep the neutral pelvis, stretch up, and bend the knee. And stretch up, and bend the knee. One last time, reconnect with the abdominals, extend the leg up, we're going to keep it up this time, and with the pelvis steady, 5 circles of the left leg. Reverse. Gather that abdominal star from around the back, do 5 circles the other way. And then we're going to bend the left knee. You can relax the abdominal work. With your left hand, pull your left knee towards your left armpit. Stretch the left inner thigh. Try to keep that right hip down. If you let it tilt, you're going to lose the anchor of your stretch. And then switch, bring the right hand over to the left knee and go into a spinal twist. Bringing the left knee towards the floor on the right. Adjust the left arm where it's comfortable. And then return to the back. And use both hands on the left knee. Pull the left knee into the breastbone. Notice that this flattens the lower back. Reshrink the star and draw the pubic bone towards the navel. Keeping your back flat, lower the left foot to the floor. Continue to flatten the back. Slide the right leg in and then relax. Let everything return to neutral and take a moment relaxing in the neutral. And then we'll straighten both legs out and continue to pause for a moment with the abdominals relaxed. Notice again that when we don't do anything with the legs straightened out, we've got an increased lumbar curve. So we're not going to go to a flat back, but I do like you to shrink your star and just go to a neutral spine, which means your back ribs will be down, but your lumbar curve will be in place. And then we're going to walk the feet a little bit to the left side. Keeping the right hip down, sweep both arms up overhead, and then tilt the upper body to the left side as well. Keep the right shoulder down, and let's stretch the right side. You can place your right heel over your left ankle if you want a little bit more. Grab onto your right wrist. Keep the right hip down, the right back ribs down. And then let's come into the center, stretch long. Again, go ahead and let the abdominals relax so you feel that increased lumbar curve. And then engage the star, pulling it around from the back. Find your neutral spine. Walk your feet a little bit to the right side. And take the left ankle over the right. Hold on to your left wrist as you side bend your upper body towards the right, and then keep your left hip, your left back ribs down. Breathe into your left side. And then back up into the center. Reach long, relax the abdominals. And then shrink the star, find your neutral. And then tilt the pelvis, add that flattened back. Feel how your navel's pulling down towards your spine, and let's do a roll up. Inhale, the arms up to the ceiling, scoop the belly in, and roll up to a seated position. If you need to bring the hands on the backs of the thighs, you can. Tilt forward, relax the upper body. Soften your shoulders, bend your elbows. Move your breastbone forward away from the navel so that you've got a long curve rather than a hump in the upper back. Then we're going to sit tall and let the arms relax out in front of the shoulders. Lengthen up through the crown. Scoop the belly. Actually, let's first start, think of your abdominal star reaching from around the back. Then tilt the pelvis. And keep both parts of that action in place as you roll back onto the sacrum and pause there. Picture that abdominal star three-dimensionally coming from behind your back. Soften your shoulders and actively pull the pubic bone towards the navel. If you can maintain it without going all the way down, we're going to move down into the back ribs. If you're going to have your feet come up, if you do that, I want you just to stay here. So you can come down a little lower if you can maintain it. Keep the feet down. Keep gathering that abdominal star from around the back and scooping the navel in, whether you're in this first position or in this one. And then lower down, everybody, and reach the arms back and take that big stretch again. And relax a moment. And let's tilt the pelvis. Shrinking the star from around the back, then tilt the pelvis. Keeping the back flat. I'm going to slide the right heel in and the left heel in. Keep the back flat, float the arms up, and then relax the arms and relax the abdominal effort, returning to your neutral. Okay, we're going to turn over onto the left side now. And we'll straighten both legs out so that the feet are slightly forward of the hips. Make sure your neck and shoulders are comfortable. Right hip tilted forward slightly. If you need a little bit of help, you can bring the right fingertips onto the mat in front of you. So let's take a moment to shrink the star down in this position. You're gathering the ribs from behind the back on each side and feeling your belt. That's going to have a similar effect to the organ lift that you're used to doing, just as a little different way of getting there. So think of that three-dimensional star shrinking. And then squeezing the inner thighs together, lift both legs up and bring them back down. Keep that star reaching around from the back ribs down to the back pockets and from the spine all the way around to underneath the navel. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Exhale up, inhale down. One last time. And relax. And again, shrink the star from around the back and lift the top leg. Now keep that star working and raise the leg just a little higher. Stay in parallel and lower back down. And lift and lower. Lift and lower 2 more times. Keeping the right hip forward, externally rotate the top leg. So you're going to roll the leg out in the socket, and then point the toes and lift up, and flex your foot and come down. Really stabilize with that belt portion of the star. Point and lift, and flex and come down. Stay externally rotated the whole time. Point up, and flex down. Point up, and flex down. One more time. Point up, and flex down. Return to your parallel and relax. And shrink the star from around the back again. Raise the top leg up to hip socket height. And exhale exhale and pull your ribs together a little more as you reach your leg behind you. And then bring it forward. Now we're only moving the top leg, so there's less range of motion than when you're scissoring with both. Keep the steadiness. Fingertips on the mat if you like. Exhale when you go back, pulling the ribs together. That will help a little bit. and shrinking. Make sure it's a really three-dimensional effort from around the back to the front. We're going to come to the center, keeping the leg lifted at hip socket height. Shrink the star again and circle the leg 5 times in each direction. Keeping that sense of staying pulled together into that space beneath the navel from all the way around the back. Five times one way, regather yourself, and then 5 the other. And then settle the top leg at the hip socket height. Regather yourself, lift the bottom leg up, and lower it back down. Again, please use your fingertips on the floor if you feel strain in your neck and shoulders. A little help from that hand to help you stay steady. And work where you want to work, which is in the core and in the legs. We're going to squeeze the legs together and stay in the lifted position, then flex the feet back and squeeze the toes. Point the feet, fan the toes, flex back. Squeeze, point, fan, and flex. Squeeze, point, fan, and flex. Keep your toes open and reach out through the balls of the feet. Then squeeze the toes and pull back. Open the toes and reach. Squeeze and pull back one more time. And then relax the feet. Lower the legs down. And relax the work of the core. Soften the neck and shoulders. We're going to come into a 0-degree hip flexion, keeping your thighs right where they are, bend at the knees so your feet are behind you. And once again, shrink the star, gathering it from around the back. 10 rotations. Keep your right hip forward and externally rotate the right thigh in the socket 10 times. Keep gathering from around the back, shrinking to that point beneath the navel. When you're done with the 10, we're going to come to 45-degree hip flexion. Knees comfortably bent, feet are in line with the sit bones right underneath you, and your knees are forward at the front of the mat. If you were to turn onto your back, you'd be in your constructive rest. Release here. Now we don't need the whole star, and we're just going to use the horizontal, the belt portion. So instead of all of the effort from around the back, just focus on this belt that comes from around the spine to the sacrum, buckling beneath the navel. Just use that to support your pelvis, and then we're going to roll the leg out in the socket 10 times again. External rotation, steady pelvis. Besides that steadying effort, all of the effort should be in the right buttock. When you're done with the 10, relax. And we'll bring the legs into 90-degree hip flexion, 90-degree angle at the hip and at the knee. And you want to feel your right hip coming forward a little bit. Gather the belt, and then use the belt to stabilize you as you do 10 more rotations here. And when you're done, relax. Then we're going to bring the right leg down a little bit so that your left foot is kind of standing on the right knee, and using your right hand, push yourself up to sitting position. You're going to find yourself in the mermaid. Sit tall. Drop both sit bones down towards the floor. The right sit bone will not be touching the floor. Spine is long. I'm going to put the right hand on the right foot and reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then gather that star around from the back and take your side bend. Reaching towards the right side. Feeling the left side lengthen. Breastbone lifting, so it's almost like you're turning your chest towards the ceiling. as you're stretching the left side of the body. Then we're going to sit tall, bring the right hand down to the floor, slide the right arm away until your elbow's down on the mat. Shrink your star and reach your right sit bone down, and reach your right arm up and over, and stretch the right side. Again, like you're trying to turn your chest towards the ceiling. Make sure you're dropping the right sit bone. That's going to give you a little extra bit of right side stretch. And then lift up tall, tall through the crown of the head, drop down through the tailbone, and bring the right hand all the way over to the left knee, left fingertips on the floor behind you, and turn and look over your left shoulder as far as you can go. Don't lean to the left, be tall through the spine, and then gather that star around. And then release to the front. Pivot so you're sideways on the mat. Float your arms out in front of you, extend your legs out long, scoop the belly, shrink the star, and then let's tilt onto the sacrum. Soften the shoulders, maintain on the sacrum. And then again, you may stay here if you can't keep the feet down, but if you can keep the feet down and go a little farther, so into your back ribs, do that. And again, hover or stay in that first position. Either way, soften your shoulders. And then lower all the way down. Take the arms up overhead and stretch long. And let's turn to the right side. And again, we'll begin with the legs straight, the feet slightly forward, and the left hip tilted a little bit to the front. Left hand on the top hip or fingertips on the floor in front of you. Shrink the star. Keep the inner thighs pressing together and lift both legs up, and then lower them back down. And again, lift and lower. Think of that star gathering around. Lift and lower. Careful that the legs don't go back behind you. They're going to stay a little bit in front of you the whole time. Last time. Lower both legs down and relax. Re-engage the star, shrink it from around the back and lift the top leg up. And then come a little higher and lower back down. Staying parallel here, lift and lower. Keep shrinking the star from around the back. Lift and lower 2 more times. And then relax. And shrink the star again, keeping the pelvis still. So bring your left hand onto your left hip for a moment and externally rotate the left leg. Roll it out in the socket, but make sure your hip doesn't roll back. And then we're going to point the toes and lift up an external rotation and flex the foot and come down an external rotation. Hands can come down onto the floor if you like. Point and lift and flex and come down. Stay rolled out in the socket the whole time. Point up. Exhale down, external rotation. Point and lift and flex and lower. Keep that star wrapping from behind the back. And then relax. Again, we're going to shrink the star and lift the top leg to hip socket height. Pull the ribs together and move the leg behind you as you exhale and come forward as you inhale. Exhale back and inhale forward. Not too far. Please don't let your hips rock and don't let your shoulders rock either. We don't want to be counterbalancing with the ribs. So don't be rocking, just extending the leg back on exhale, reaching it forward on inhale. And then come to the center, shrink the star again and circle the leg 5 times in each direction. Take your time, keep the pelvis still. Re-shrink the star, reverse. And then to the center, re-engage, and lift the bottom leg up to the top and lower down. Again, be sure that your legs aren't pulling behind you, your fingertips on the floor if necessary. Lower down. Exhale to lift, and inhale to lower. Twice more. Keep the bottom leg lifted so both legs are lifted, inner thighs pushing together. Flex the feet back and squeeze the toes. Point the feet, fan the toes, and flex back again. Squeeze, point, fan, and flex. Squeeze, point, fan, flex, and keep the toes open as you reach. Squeeze the toes and pull back. Open and reach, squeeze and pull back, and one more time. And then lower down. Relax. Come into a 0 degree hip flexion. We're going to bend at the knees, keeping the thighs where they are. Re-engage, shrinking the star from around the back. And then roll the leg out in the socket, keeping the pelvis still. Do 10 rotations here. We're using the whole star, shrinking around from the back. When you're done, relax. And then let's come to 45 degree flexion. Knees at the front of the mat, feet underneath you. Relax into that neutral position. And then just gather the horizontal line, the transversus abdominis around the hips to steady the pelvis. And do 10 more rotations. I'm going to feel the work in the left buttock. The abdominal work gathered around the hip bones, the sacrum. And then the motion happening to the work in the buttock of the left leg. When you're done, relax. And we'll go to a 90 degree hip flexion. Check that the neck and shoulders are comfortable. Gather that belt snug around your hips and roll the leg out in the socket. 10 more times. When you're done, you can displace the left leg behind you till the right foot is on the left knee, and then use your left hand to push yourself up. So tall left hand on the left foot, lengthened up through the spine. Reach the right arm out to the side, and then side bend. Stay open in the chest, stretching the left leg. Sorry, not the left leg, the right side. And then sit tall, and bring the right hand down to the floor and slide the hand away until your elbow's down on the mat. And then reach down with your left sit bone as you take your left arm up and over. Try shrinking the star here, pulling it around, pulling your ribs together, dropping your left sit bone. Keep your left arm straight, big stretch in the left side. Sit tall. Lengthen up through the center of the head, and we're going to take the left hand to the right knee. Staying very tall through the spine, turn and look over the right shoulder. And once you're in that twist, shrink the star from around your back. And then release to the center. Again, pivot on your mat. Send the legs straight out in front of you. Both the arms in front of you, dropping the shoulders. Gather the star from around the back. Back ribs reaching all the way around to the opposite back pockets. The belt coming around. And then tilt the pelvis by pulling the pubic bone up into the navel. Keep the feet on the floor and roll down onto the back of the sacrum. Keep drawing the navel to the spine. Relax your shoulders. Wrap your ribs around all the way from the back to the opposite side, down and around. And then complete the roll down and reach back. Big long stretch. And then float the arms up to soften the shoulders. Relax your arms down, and we're going to turn over onto the stomach. Go onto the stomach with the arms down at the sides, forehead on the floor. If you can't get your forehead comfortably down, you can put your cheek on the floor. I'm going to bring the legs close together. Think of that star. So now you're starting from your back ribs and wrapping all the way around to the front. And then as you exhale, lift everything up. Your head, arms, your chest, your legs. So your ribs coming together. Lift your thighs and lift your upper arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades and then release back down. Relax. Shrink the star and lift. Keep the legs together if you can. Pull your front ribs together. Lift your arms high and squeeze the ribs. And then lower down and relax. One more time. Gather the star, wrap around from the back to the front. And lift. Open the chest. And lower down. We're going to move into a child's pose for a moment. Stretch the back out. And then come up onto all fours. Hands right underneath your shoulders. Neutral spine in place. I'm going to shrink the star. And then tuck your toes under and hover your knees up off of the mat. Just a little bit of a lift there. Push the floor away, hover the knees up. Keep shrinking that star from around the back, then lower the knees down. Let's do that same thing again. Shrink the star, push the floor away, and hover the knees up off of the mat, just a couple inches. And lower the knees back down. One more time, and we're going to go into a plank from here. I'm going to shrink the star, push the floor away, hover the knees. Make sure you're really gathered together in the front. Then lengthen the legs out. Maintain. See if you can picture that star in the front and how it's wrapping around from the back. Now keep shrinking the star, bend the knees, but don't quite bring them down to the floor. If your lower back doesn't feel support, you gotta have a little bit more of that belt around your front, and then straighten the legs again. Keep pushing the floor away. And keep shrinking your star, bend the knees, but don't quite bring them down to the floor. Keep pushing the floor away. Then straighten the legs. One more time, gather the star, and bend the knees without touching them, push the floor away. And then bring the knees down to the floor, hips back to the heels. And then let's turn over onto the back. Coming into constructive rest pose. Preparing for the abdominal series, but first let's relax. I'm going to shrink the star from around the back. Keep the neutral spine and lift the right foot up. And then the left. Gather yourself. Lift the head. Straighten one leg. Bring both hands to the other leg. And then switch Single leg stretch. Keep gathering from around the back. Bend both knees without flattening the back. Gather the star, double leg stretch. And exhale and push both legs away. Extend both arms up overhead and inhale. Come back in. Exhale. Reach away from the center. Inhale. Bend the knees and circle the arms back around. No flat back. Last time, we're going to keep both legs straight and go into the single straight leg. One leg up, one leg down, maintaining your neutral spine. Elbows out nice and wide. And both legs up, hands coming behind the head. You're still in neutral. Keep shrinking your star from around the back. Lower the legs slightly and bring it back up. And a little bit down and up and lower. And lift twice more, keeping your neutral spine. Then bend the knees and we'll crisscross, bicycling the legs. Be sure the pelvis is still. Turning the chest. Then hug both knees. Put your head down. Turn your head from side to side slowly. Find your neutral tabletop position. Re-engage the star. I'm going to lower the left foot down and place the right ankle on the left knee. Making sure this pelvis stays even, we'll lift the left leg up. Bring the hands behind the back of the left thigh and begin to stretch the right hip. Even at the back of the pelvis, shoulders relaxed, back of the neck long. I'm going to stay for a minute here. Feel where you are at the back of the pelvis. Be careful you're not rolling over to the right side. And then lower the left foot down to the floor and the right. Check your neutral position. Shrink the star from around the back. Lift the left ankle to the right knee. And then lift the right foot up. And relax the shoulders. Settle into the center of the pelvis as you stretch the left buttock. Let's lower the right foot and then the left. Gather the star from around the back. Tilt the pelvis. Keep the pelvis tilted and straighten the left leg out and then the right. Keep the pelvis tilted. Take the arms up overhead. Scoop the belly in. And we're going to come up into a sit up one more time. Inhale, take the arms to the ceiling. And roll yourself up. And sit tall. Lengthen from the crown to the tail, and then bend yourself forward without crunching your chest. So you're going to keep the breastbone reaching away from the navel as you go into the forward bend. Relax the neck and shoulders. And then sit tall. And let's just bend the knees to come into a little gentler forward bend to finish up. Bring the forehead down towards the knees. And lift the chest. And that'll do it. Okay. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Stay warm. Enjoy this sunny, cold day. Thanks. Remember to sign in. Please let me know that you are here. Hi, Victor. Good morning. Bye, everybody.